just plugging it in for the first time. The neck sounds alright. Very dark. So this tone is to the bridge, and this tone pot isn't original. So when I looked in the back, the wire they've used to ground it to the claw isn't regular cheap crap wiring, but it's not normal pushback either. So I think someone's buggered about with the wiring in this, but I can fix it. I've got a load of CTS pots, so I can bugger about with it. Quite subdued on the bridge. There's not much high end. It plays fucking gorgeous, so I think the wiring just needs sorting out, as does my hair. It's new guitar day. So it's been a little while, but I'm back with another video. You'll have to excuse this latest project. It may take place over a few days. It might take a little while to get this video out. I've had surgery and I'm still recovering, a little bit brain foggy. So I'm doing little bits as I can as I recuperate. But I'm all good, I'm all fine, I'm on the mend. So, new guitar. This is a 2008, if you see the 08 at the start, 2008 Mexican classic 50s Strat, custom shop designed by Dan, name I can't pronounce, Polishy looking, Czech looking name. It's an older body, and it's a maple neck. This is an odd colour. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. This is not Fiesta Red. This is a lighter sort of salmon colour. This isn't at all stock. It came with gold knobs and a gold switch, which weren't stock. Very chintzy, so I've taken them off. The bridge is all stock. The gold tuners and that is all stock. The body and neck is great. Neck plate. The bridge is stocked. You might actually see there's a tiny little bit of wire. If I can point just there, where the old plastic wiring, all the Mexicans come with plastic cover wire. So someone snipped that off and added a ground wire. Now, if you look at this ground wire, I've had so many I've had so many projects. Have a look at this ground wire. See, brain fog. Have a look at this wire and you can see that it's some form of braided wire. However, that's not the normal cloth pushback wire that you would find. Let me get some. This is the sort of cloth wire you will expect to find inside US Strats, and it's solid core and it's really, really lovely stuff. It's so easy to work with. You can get this from all parts, Northwest Guitars, that sort of thing. This sort of wire is still multi-stranded wire, so it's quite brittle and it heats up quickly in the hand. And if you can see the slight shine to the wire casing, I suspect that it's in fact polyester. So what does that indicate to me? Yeah, it's very clearly stranded wire, and also the solder joint is very cloudy and dark. So that means someone has buggered about with the wiring, and they may not have known exactly what they were doing, if I'm being kind. So these pickups are Texas specials. These are not the stock pickups that it came with. The pickups it would have came with, I'm guessing, are long gone in a guitar that is 16 years old and is probably doing his GCSEs and listening to Linkin Park. I'm not the biggest fan of the Texas specials. I've tried them before, I think, and they weren't really my bag. So I've ordered a set of Vinteria 50s pickups. So they're 50s style. They suit the guitar reasonably well. They're vintagey, correct sort of thing. And I'm going to sell these on because they just ain't my bag. The pickguard is anodized gold. Now, when I had an anodized gold plate on there before, which you can see is not stock, because you actually see a slight line in dirt and grime from where the old white pickguard was. When I had this pickguard like this on a guitar before, it was microphonic. Interestingly, if I turn to the side, you can see white underneath. I think that is the old pickguard, single ply, which is 50s spec and accurate. So, but there is a crack. There you go. You can see the split in it. God, this camera's great. I've got a slightly nicer iPhone. Look at that. So, oh, that autofocus, that's gorgeous. Look at that. Yes, Apple. So, having the single ply underneath the metal effectively is going to stop this from vibrating anywhere and moving and causing any microphonic issues. Now, this guitar has basically no high end. The potentiometers do work, but there's very little high end. There's also a very strong smell of roll-up cigarettes, but that's a side issue, I think. I think that's where it was in the intro before I got it. Now, a third point. That this is a stock CTS pot. Right? It's larger ball than you get on the cheap ones, and it's a brass coloured shaft. That is a cheap pot that is not CTS or Fender, or bare knuckle, I dare say, will be the same style and same level of quality. And this pot, the lower tone, should be wired to the middle pickup, but is in fact it is in fact wired to the bridge pickup. Brain fog. I like that idea. Matt Schofield, one of my favourite Strat players, one of my favourite guitar players, has that. I may well keep this option, but you can see where I'm going with this. It needs work. The switch, I believe, is still a Grigsby. In fact, I know it is because I bought a new Fender switch tip and it fits. I love the gold hardware. This is the stock block. If you followed my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I've become quite a big fan of adding brass blocks to various guitars that have cheap zinc. This is from Music Lily. It's very similar, if not the same, to the one I added to my other Fender Strat, which is, funnily enough, a more 50s style as well. It cost about 15 quid on eBay, and it's a fantastic investment. If you have a Squier, they do them for Squier. If you want one upgrade to your Strat to improve the tone, and you know how to change the intonation and set up a bridge, hands down, the best 15 quid you'll spend. Hands down, as long as it stays in tune. The neck on this is a soft V. I didn't know what this guitar was. I actually went looking for a telly. I'm recording my solo album at the moment, bit by bit as I can. I used the telly for some guide guitar, just because it happened to be there in the studio, as it were. So I went looking for a telly, and I tried a Squier Affinity, which I quite liked. That's the one I'd tried before. I tried two Fenders. I tried one called Marvin or something. It wasn't a Marlin, but it was an odd one. And there were two Fender Strats that were standard. There was a Player Strat, so it's very new. And I think it was a standard, another one. And there was this. So I tried all of them, and literally as soon as my hand touched this, I went, oh boy, here we go. There's something here. There's something about the way that there's no way you can capture on camera, but the way it hugs your hand, this part of your hand just absolutely just slots into this soft V on the back of the neck, and it's so disgustingly comfortable. And so I picked it up, and it was really light. It was a lot lighter than the other ones, which will be roughly the same price, I'd say. So I picked it up and I gave it a strum and went, I love that. The contour on the back of the body is quite deep. It's deeper than my other Mim and deeper than the other ones I've tried, which I think is a 50s correct thing. There you go, you can see that. So it really feels like it's really up against you. It's, again, something it's hard to get across on camera, but it feels like it almost wraps around your body. So it wraps around my hand here, and it wraps around my body here. And when I go like this, I can feel the whole thing, any part of the body, I can just feel it all ringing. And I go, oh boy, I can't really leave this here, can I? So, a few Imperial credits of the realm later, I'm taking this home with me. And as I said, I hadn't even plugged it in. The first time I plugged it in was a couple of days after I got it because of reasons. And I noticed there's no high end, so obviously when I pulled the knobs off, I know this isn't right. So here we are. This is where I am at the moment. I'm going to give it a bit of a wipe down with the multi-purpose because the bridge is very, very dusty. Very dusty. And these strings are thinner than the ones I use. I like to use 10 to 52s. I like that tension on the low string so it snaps back. So while I'm taking the bridge apart, I thought, bollocks to it, for 15 quid, I'll do it. And I got a brass block. Bear in mind, I haven't even heard the guitar fully working electrically yet, but Christ, it's a hell of a guitar. I've already got a wiring loom of 3 Strat pots and a switch. It might even be the one that Sam from Real Love Guitars did for me. I honestly can't remember, but I know that someone proper did it because the solder joints look really nice, so mine look a bit nasty. Anyway, I'm going to use the full loom of 3 full matching CTS pots because if we're going for originality, that has somewhat flown the nest already. So these are going to come out. I'm going to take the pickups out. I'm just going to desolder the 2 wires from the jack and the ground at the back, and I'm going to reflow that joint and redo the whole wiring schmizzle at some point. But my job for today is to take the strings off, clean the bridge, pop the brass block on, and then in the next couple of days I'll see how I feel. But hopefully next time you see this, it'll be fully set up, and it's going to be one hell of a guitar. I had to move some stuff around and get rid of a load of stuff to fund this. But at the time I thought, oh, bollocks to it. It's my birthday coming up in a few weeks, so happy birthday, Hal. Amazing guitar. I will let you know how I get on with the progress of this. Sorry if this is a bit rambly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye-bye. We have a new development. Right, this is the bridge. The new block is on. That isn't brass. No, it isn't. This is a 56mm. The MIM one does not fit. This is going to be a 54. The problem is, clearly, this bridge is a US spacing bridge. So being a custom shop designed guitar, this is not the standard made in Mexico dimensions. So luckily I already had this because I ordered the wrong one years ago. Black Dog Music on eBay used to do these. I don't know if they do them anymore. But I got this 56 block and obviously couldn't use it, but hung on to it for a rainy day. The day has come. So there we go. I will be using a steel block, which I suppose is more vintage correct than the brass block. And I'm going to lift this pick guard, and we're going to see what rat's nest may be lurking underneath. Now, I have a hunch, because the number of people I've dealt with who have bought a guitar that's a modern or lower end guitar and they want to make it vintage, but they believe vintage spec is God. It's the golden, the gold standard, but they only take half of it. So I'm expecting to see an orange drop capacitor underneath here, because people are going to say online that makes a difference, and they're going to agree with that. They're not going to say that the braided wire is going to make a difference, which is why we've seen the cheap braided wire. They bought stuff that's vintage correct, but it's not vintage correct at all. The potentiometer is not vintage at all. It's not even the right size. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 500K, to be perfectly honest with you. The switch they've left alone. I'm sure they believe that the switch needs to be vintage. But anyway, I'll pop a couple more screws in, or pop a spring on to hold everything in place. And then let's see. Right, let's see what's underneath this pick guard. Here we go. Are we taking bets? You know what? Let me know in the comments. What do you expect to find underneath here? Because I have a fairly good indication. Here it is. Ark of the Covenant opens. Okay, so one thing I noticed straight away. Ah, hello. So there's no dot there, which is a Mexican thing. I was deceived. I was in fact deceived. These are not Fender pickups. They're bloody Tone Riders. Secondly, what is going on there? That is a CTS 250K pot. How weird. I'm gonna have to have a think about this. So as you can see the difference very obviously with the real proper what vintage wire was like that Tone Rider have used, and this cheap nonsense that someone's used to rewire this. Anyway, that is very interesting. Obviously you can see the split there. So the wiring's going to be pretty poo. So anyway, I'm going to take all this out and I'm going to put my own wiring loom in. Well. Lots and lots of I burnt myself. Ow. But sorry. Can't bend this finger at all. Anyway, let's turn the reverb up for a laugh. That's what we want. Yeah, all the pickups work. The lower tone is wired to the neck and the middle and the bridge, but I'm pretty happy with that. It's just like that already. Obviously it's not holding tune whatsoever. Needs a setup. Some of the bushings were falling out, so I've had to use a little bit of paper to sort of wedge them back in. But overall, yeah, a lot better. They're quite nice pickups, these. Yeah, pretty happy. It's been a few days, my hair's different, the plugs on my head and arms are gone, my clothes are different. So the guitar's just been sitting. I've given it a wee bit of a tweak on the setup. Some of the bushings, if you can see, are slightly proud. The A strings are a wee bit proud, but they're not going to fall out or anything. I'm going to show you a few chords, but I reckon this guard has to go. Because this guitar has no high end. There's a certain frequency roll off, and after that you can just hear there's nothing harmonically going on. This is a lot better than it was, so any wiring weirdnesses have been ironed out. But I think I need to replace this gold guard. It's not vintage correct at all, but I have this, ignore the shielding plate, I have this mint green guard which I know fits Fenders. It's not vintage correct because this is a 3-ply guard rather than a single ply white, but it's the only guard I have that, well, I do have a red tortoiseshell, but that would look absolutely awful. So I'm going to go with the mint green scratch plate because it's plastic. This is aluminium, it's robbing high end. Have a listen to this. Still got a poorly finger I can't bend, so bear with me. Can you hear that? There's tones are on 10, just there's no high end. Goes the bridge pickup. You can hear there's just a load of high end that's just missing after a certain frequency. It's like just nothing there. So you can just hear it's gone. So I'm going to slacken these strings off, which are very old strings anyway. I hope they survive. They've just been left in a paper packet for years until I've needed them. Yeah, slacken the strings off. Take this guard off. I'm going to have a look at what the white pick guard, which I think is the original one underneath, that single ply. See, I'm going to see what condition that's in, because there's absolutely a crack there. There you go. So I hope it's in serviceable condition. If it is, I'll just use that. If it's not, and it's got a crack in it, I'm going to use this aluminium shielding plate behind it. Now, it is going to take some high end off the guitar, but it's a lot thinner than this aluminium guard. But I'll just use it as a reinforcement. If it robs a bit of high end, it's, in theory, I think, still going to be brighter than it is now. If I still don't like it with the shielding plate, I'll take the shielding plate out and I'll go for round 3. I quite like these pickups. I like the feel of them. Let me stick on a bit of drive in the background. This is a Blackstar LT Dual on the Cleaner Crunch channel. The high end's gone. It's like if I turn the tone right down on the bridge, that's up again and down a bit. See what I mean? It's the same effect. There's just a certain frequency after which everything is just dumped to ground and you never hear it. So anyway, I'm going to take the neck off. I've actually put some wax and I've rubbed some wax on the threads of these screws so that if I need to take the neck off to adjust the truss rod, it's not going to stress the wood. So that's a very important thing to do, I think, just for the longevity of the guitar. And when it comes to taking the guards apart, I'm going to film it and we're going to discover together. We're a team on this journey. We're figuring it out as a unit, as a beautiful unit. We'll find the answer to this problem. What condition is this guard in? Doesn't that look better? Maybe I should pop the knobs and switch tip on. There we go. So you can see the crack in the very corner of the scratch plate, but I don't think it's going to interfere with anything. It's like someone's over tightened the screw in the corner. Pickup heights aren't going to be anywhere near where they were before. They look quite a bit lower. And of course, before I had 2 pick guards, which was shimming the whole thing up anyway. So I'm just going to rough this out, and probably the pickups are going to be lower than they were before. But I still expect there to be more high end than there was. Have I done that right? Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that's all right. Okay then. Here we go. Let's go for just the tube screamer. Yes, I should tune. You're the Black Star again. So I think there's more high end. There you go. The knobs are a bit proud. These are not Fender knobs. They're just some cheap import knobs I had knocking about, and they happen to match the Fender switch tip and the Fender pickup covers reasonably well. So I threw them on there. Probably gonna get some real Fender ones that are a little bit lower profile. But there you go. I think I've proved my point. I think it definitely has more extended high end. I did turn the treble up on the amp with the old guard, and that's what you were hearing the first time. So now I've taken this off the guitar, it's literally like taking a blanket off, and there's treble to spare. The pickups are effectively lower than they were before, but there's still more but there's still more high end than there was before. So there you have it. Experiment over. Gold anodized scratch plates look great, but they definitely roll off high end. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next section of this video. Bye bye.